Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Tintle and I am the owner and designer behind the Creative Siren. So I know so many of you are anxious to start in on this part 2 here, so let's go ahead and forego the fancy intro and just jump right in. Now that your fierce dragon cup is fully baked and completely cooled, we're going to start painting it. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to tape off the tops and the bottoms again. That way I don't get paint anywhere that I don't want it to. And we're going to start off by painting the entire thing black. Now it's really important to make sure that you get every little crevice here, especially on the underbelly of these scales. So you don't have any of that nude color showing through, because you will notice it. So it's kind of best when you're painting to go against the grain as well as with the grain. That way you get those little spots that might hide away from the paint. Now that your dragon is all nice, one solid color of black, we're going to go in with our purple flash, and you're going to paint this one wherever you have your scales as well as the nostril of your dragon. Don't paint anything else. Though, as a tip, if you do happen to get some of this anywhere else, don't fret too much, because you can always just go back over it with some black paint. And if you see here, I'm putting on just a very light layer. I'm not overdoing it. I'm really trying to spread out that paint so you just have nice even coverage of this purple flash. Now when you're doing the nostril, really pay attention to the shape of the inside of the nostril, because that part we're actually going to leave black for now. So you just want to do all of that part where you added texture, and then continue with the inside shape. I like to do like these upside down teardrops, but if you want to take it all the way up to the pit of the nostril, that's fine too. It's up to your discretion. Now here, what I usually like to do with this part is I like to go in with a bigger brush for most of the scale part, and then I'll go in with a finer detailing brush to get all of those little crevices that are in between, you know, like his eyebrows or the back on his mohawk and all those little places. Once you have the main body of your dragon completely purplified, we're gonna move into his eyeball. So just go ahead and paint his eye white on that inside. Nothing special about this yet until we get to the outer details. Okay, now you've come to the fun part. So we're gonna start with this outer detailing here, and we're gonna take our metallic amethyst from Folk Art, and we're gonna just start painting it, both top and the bottom. So I actually like to go in really light here so that it's not a super vibrant purple, so you almost see a little bit of the black shining through. And then those vertical lines that you have there in your detailing, those remain black as well. So you're not really oversaturating this area, but again, completely up to your discretion. It's just something that I like to do. Now do the same painting technique right here on this inner part of the eye with the metallic ice blue. Now go in and paint those very thin lines with your blue flash. And I know that it says it's blue, but because it's against this black, it'll pop out to be the most vibrant purple. It's really so pretty. So for the very inner part of the eye here, I'm painting it with blue violet flash. And again, because it's a color shift, you'll notice that it actually comes out to be more of like a purpley gold, which I think is really, really neat. Now wherever we have these little circles, so on the inner corner of the eye and then at the top where we have like all those pancakes kind of lined up, you're gonna paint it with this really pretty blue turquoise color by Apple Barrel. Now real quick, go ahead and hit the top lid of our eye with that purple flash so it matches the rest of the body of our dragon. Okay, so here I'm actually going over the turquoise color with the blue flash because the turquoise doesn't have any kind of iridescent color and I really wanted it to match with the rest of our dragon. But of course you can leave it off if you don't want to take this step. Okay, now let's start painting our eyeball. So I'm going to take a Ward Blue from Apple Barrel and I'm going to make about a 3/4 of a circle from the very top all the way almost down, touching that bottom lid of our eye. And then go ahead and just paint it in. Now while we have that blue drying, come in with a fine paintbrush and a little bit of black, and we're gonna round out the eyeball in our dragon's eye. So we always have to remember that a person or an animal's eye is, usually pretty round, and the shape that we have here is very almond, so we just want to round out that white and create a negative space with the black. So we're going to start in on the iris of our eye, and so I go in with the royal blue and I just lightly paint over it just to wet that area, and then I'm going to take the color turquoise and just start creating streaks from the inside out. Now make sure that these streaks are both short and long, thick and thin. We really kind of want inconsistency here. And now I'm going to go in with Cloudless and do the same thing, but with Cloudless I'm creating more highlights. And the nice thing is because we wet that center before applying all of this color, all of these colors are going to blend in really seamlessly and quite beautifully. And for a little extra pop, I'm going in with green flash to create yet another dynamic, so adding just some more highlight. Once you get your center iris looking exactly the way that you want to, go ahead with your color black and a fine paintbrush and start adding the cat eye center to the eye of our dragon. Now you can do this in various shapes. You can do just a very thin slit, you can do the cat eye, you can do a diamond shape, but it just depends on the personality that you're giving your dragon. And now I go in once more with the green flash just to add a little bit darker, that green yellow look. Now go in and take your Cloudless and outline the outside rim of your very center pupil for your dragon's eye. Okay guys, we're almost done with the eye. So the last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add royal violet to the very outside blue circle here, just to add a little extra low lights to really make the eye pop. Okay, now we're gonna focus on the center bridge of our nose here. So I'm just gonna color all of our triangles here, this metallic amethyst. Once the amethyst is dried, go ahead and go in with metallic ice blue, and we're gonna paint, it's almost like snow caps on the top of a mountain, but we're going to make sure that we blend it down into the amethyst. So it's a very seamless, like ombre look. Okay, now let's have some fun with some iridescent micas. So I have 3 little like plastic shot glasses. I got these at I think the dollar store, and I'm just filling the very bottom just enough to cover it with some polyacrylic. Now this first one I'm using 6M. For the second one I'm using 2M. And for the third, I'm using 5M. Now, please note that I'm using just a very, very tiny scoop of each color. You really don't need a lot of polyacrylic or a lot of the mica. Now I'm gonna take that 5M color and I'm just going to very lightly paint it over what I would call the eyebrows of our dragon. Now, when you paint with micas, it's not like painting with regular paint. You're probably gonna have to continually mix the mica solution that you have so that the polyacrylic and the micas don't separate too much, and you're going to have to reapply the mica solution onto your paintbrush a lot more often than you will your paint, but the end result will be beautiful. Once your mica paint has dried off, I come in with green flash and I'm going to concentrate the color at the very ends of these eyebrows and slowly trickle down the color towards the very base. And it just highlights those ends. I just think it gives it a cool effect, but that's just me. I will also actually later go in with that M5 mica to just blend out all of those colors together. Now we're gonna go in with the color 6M and we're gonna lightly paint over that little flame emblem that he has in the middle of his forehead. And last but not least, we're gonna go in finally with 2M. And now I like to take this one and very lightly paint over the entire body of our dragon. So anywhere that we had that bright purple or that purple flash, that's where this is gonna go. So I like to add this on top because the folk art color changing paints, though gorgeous, they don't have a lot of the color changing that I'm really looking for, and this really adds to it and really makes the color pop. And though I don't show it here, I did take this 2M color and I used it on that back mohawk as well, just to really make it pop with a blue and purple look. I also used it on the inside nostrils of our dragon's nose. And that's it, guys. He is now fully painted and ready for some epoxy. I mean, look at that color. It's so pretty, and I can't get over the iridescence. Okay, now when it comes to epoxying this guy, I do tend to clump on the epoxy. Now normally in my videos I always tell you to do a really thin layer, and that's still kind of true, but in order to make sure that all of those little crevices are completely covered, I do clump it on, and then I almost like scrape it off, leaving just a little bit there, so it's like a barely there type deal when it comes to the epoxy. And then of course, hit it real quick with a heat gun or a torch just to get rid of any micro bubbles. And you guys did it. Now we have made this really beautiful iridescent dragon. He's absolutely one of my favorites. And all of you guys that followed along really need to give yourself a pat on the back because he is no easy feat. So I'm really happy that you guys stuck it out and followed along with me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you on the next tutorial. If you loved this video, be sure to click here to see our last video. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another tutorial. See you later. Bye!